Hi there.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us. In 2013, there was a Pew Research study done. In it, participants were asked if they regularly participate in a Passover Seder. 70% answered that they observe a Passover Seder. Of that 70%, 42% consider themselves to be Jews of no religion, those who consider themselves Jewish in some way, but say they are atheist or agnostic or have no particular religion. Now that's pretty impressive. 70% of Jews participate and celebrate the holiday of Passover in some way. If you look at other holidays, the high holidays or the holiday of Hanukkah, the numbers are not far behind. Most Jews are familiar with the rituals and celebrate those holidays in some way. Yet, when we think about the holiday of Shavuot, the holiday we're about to celebrate, that's another story. Shavuot is arguably the least celebrated major Jewish holiday, and perhaps the least known holiday.
So it almost seems as if Shavuot really doesn't get its fair share of attention. But as we'll make the case tonight, perhaps it is Shavuot of all Jewish holidays that should make the spotlight, because it is Shavuot that really captures the essence of Judaism and who we are as a people. If we go back to the source and read about the command to celebrate the holiday, we'll find something surprising. There's absolutely no date mentioned in the Torah about when we are to celebrate Shavuot. In contrast to all the other holidays which have a date, for example, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, all have a date in terms of when we are to celebrate. But when it comes to Shavuot, we're told to count 49 days after the holiday of Passover begins. And that is when we know when to celebrate Shavuot. So we count 7 weeks, and whatever date that ends up on, that is when we celebrate Shavuot. So Shavuot doesn't even get its own date. It's almost like it doesn't stand on its own feet. It's connected intrinsically to the holiday of Passover. So in a sense, Shavuot and Passover are really two sides of the same coin. They go hand in hand. They are connected. Shavuot completes the Passover story.
So let's talk about the beginning of the story. The holiday of Passover, the holiday that we celebrated 7 weeks ago, the holiday that we celebrate the freedom of the Jewish people. We're all familiar with the phrase, "let my people go." It appears so often in the conversations between Moses and Pharaoh. But what most people don't realize is that that's not the full sentence. In every instance where Moses said to Pharaoh, the God of the Hebrews, said, "let my people go," he always finished with, "so that they shall serve me." It wasn't just about leaving Egypt. It was about leaving in order to be able to serve God.
And that's where Shavuot comes in, because Shavuot is when we receive the Torah. It's when we received our purpose and meaning. The Exodus wasn't an end in and of itself. The whole point of the Exodus was in order to serve God, in order to fulfill what is written in the Torah. The Jewish philosopher Isaiah Berlin, in a 1958 essay titled "Two Concepts of Liberty," discusses the ideas of negative freedom and positive freedom. Negative freedom is the absence of restraint, but it's only a prerequisite to positive freedom, which is the freedom to pursue one's goals and desires. Freedom, this is often referred to as freedom of and freedom to. Having freedom of, or the absence of restraint, is not enough. It's not a complete freedom if a person does not also have the freedom to pursue a goal, a mission, and a desire. An individual who lacks a will of his own does not become free once he is no longer shackled. He's simply a slave without a master. So, as he made the case, freedom, just being let free, is not enough to constitute true freedom. And this, of course, relates to Passover and Shavuot. Passover is when we were let go, but that's not enough. That's not true freedom. That's just the negative freedom, the absence of our restraints. In the case of Passover, of course, the slavery of Egypt. But that wasn't enough, and that's not true freedom. unless we finish and complete that with the holiday of Shavuot, which is when we have the positive freedom, which is a will, a mission, and the freedom to pursue our goals.
In the era of coronavirus, I think so many of us can relate. We may be working fewer hours. We may have more time to fill. People may find themselves a little lost or searching for meaning, suddenly reevaluating our purpose. So many of us define ourselves by our job or by what we do every day. And when that's taken away or that changes, suddenly we start looking inwards and wondering, what is this all about? Who am I? What am I? Why am I needed? Am I needed?
This reminds me of an article I recently read about the high recidivism rates amongst prisoners. There's so much in between ceasing to be a slave and freedom. And so many people are released from jail and suddenly find themselves without a goal, without a purpose, without a mission, and unfortunately find themselves right back where they started. In between the absence of slavery and true freedom is a stage in which the individual must develop inner qualities of his or her own. So while the Jews' freedom was initiated at Passover, it was not fully realized until we received the Torah. And that's what we celebrate on Shavuot, the receiving of our Torah, a set of guidelines that allows us to live our lives with meaning and purpose.
That's what Shavuot is all about. That's when the Passover experience was validated. That's when our newly gained freedom was complete, because we received our mission and purpose on Shavuot. In a sense, Passover is about our past, and Shavuot is about our future. It's not enough to just celebrate the past. That alone is not enough to keep us going for 3,000 years. It's the Torah which has kept our nation alive and kept us together as a people.
In business, everyone knows that having a mission statement is core to the identity of a company and all of its employees. The Torah is our shared mission statement. It's the Torah that has kept our Jewish nation alive. It is what has kept us together as a people, and it is what will continue keeping us together until the time of Mashiach.
Good Yom Tov, and we hope this holiday of Shavuot will be a meaningful holiday for all of us.
Chag Sameach.